Okay, let's not do too much fanfare, but let's do a Playfield swap. Good day, fellow Russians. So, we're going to do a Playfield swap. I'm going to show you what I do. I've done a few of these. It's not like I've done dozens and dozens, but I've learned some tricks over time, and I'm going to share them with you. So let's get right into it. What you're going to need, well, this isn't the whole thing, and I'm going to break this video up. I'm not going to do it all in one video. It's going to be too long. You need time. You need pictures. T-nuts and screws would come in handy. I'll explain in a second. Side rail screws, same thing. You're going to need power wire, staples, patience, and a caliper. Tools, it's just an assortment of screwdrivers, mostly Phillips, the star ones, soldering iron, wire cutter, staple gun with the T-staples, a punch or an awl, and a hammer. That's for this episode. So the working surface we're going to work on just temporarily is a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood mounted, and I just mounted it on some corner rails for shelving, just to make sure that this thing is not going to bend, and also so it's 100% level. So I'm going to put the Playfield on, put it upside down, and we're going to start installing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start installing the T-nuts, and I will bring you back. Okay, what are T-nuts and what are they for? So on the Playfield, these are Bally's. Other brands do the same. The screws that go through the Playfield end up going into what's called a T-nut. So that's the T-nut there. Okay, so basically what's happening here is anywhere where they need some real strength, they put a screw that would go through, hook up to the T-nuts. Anywhere where the ball's going to hit, just as a rule of thumb, that needs some serious strength behind it, is going to be through the Playfield into a T-nut. So these two here, so on and so forth. So what it looks like on this side, so if you've got your nut and it's squared on the bottom, that's going to go right through the Playfield into a T-nut. I'll show you the T-nut. If it's just surface mounted, it'll be in the shape of a screw. So for example, that'll be a T-nut. These will just be screws. Okay, so when you pull them out, they're going to be of that type. Okay, so the exercise I'm going to go through now is I'm going to pop in the T-nuts. You got to get aggressive with them. Okay, so what happens is it's going to go here, and then you tap it in with a hammer. Okay, there are different sizes. There are not that many different sizes, but there are. I got these from salvaged Playfields from the past. Now, the reason I have the Playfield on something solid is when you do hammer in the T-nuts, the Playfield's going to deflect a bit. I don't want it to really deflect and risk cracking the clear coat on the other side. So this is just something I do as a precaution. And the paper here is just to protect the Playfield. So another word on T-nuts. Yeah, I must be nuts to do these swaps, but but it is what it is. So I'm gonna start again T-nuts, and then I'll bring you to the next process for what we do. So what if you don't have T-nuts? Well, there's a couple of options you have. Pull a couple of posts out. Pull out a screw. Go to the big box store. They sell them there. So just match it up to what you have. There's two types. There's the smaller ones and the bigger ones. I'll show you the bigger ones when we get to it. Or you reuse your olds. I'm doing it this way because it speeds the process up, because I don't have to disassemble, pull the T-nuts off this Playfield, transfer them to this one. So if I do it in advance, it's a little quicker. It's a little bit more organized, and you don't want to wait too long, but you want to do what I call a hot swap, is take it from this, the wiring part of it anyways. Take it from this, put it on this as quick as you can, just so you don't forget. But anyways, if you don't have a T-mold, or a T-nut I should say, it's easy. Just back out the nut. Not all the way, but just enough so that it's off. They're typically have a screw in them. And this screw is missing. Where's my lens here? See, the screw is missing. So you just back it out, you tap it with a hammer, and then it'll push it through. And then you can pull it off. So let me just take this nut off. Okay. Let's see how this one just popped right off. Okay. There's where you can see the difference in the whiteness of the Playfield. All right, and on this one, I will just take an equivalent and marry it up. Okay, so that's the original, and that's the replacement. Some of them you can see are a little bigger. So let's just be consistent and stick with the proper size. Okay, I'll smash one in just to show you how they go in, and then I'll bring you to the bigger ones when we get to that point. The reason you need a hammer as well is these things have barbs on them. You can see it right there. And then you have to hammer them into the Playfield. If you're doing a direct swap from Playfield to Playfield, you don't have to worry about doing this. But if you've got extras like I do, just make sure that it works before you pop it in. Okay. That's a question of putting it in the hole. You can see that, right? Yeah. Flathead. Done. Just make sure it's in, and then screw it in. Again, if you use screws that came off your original Playfield, you're okay. If you're like me and you have just Playfields lying around, make sure that the screw does not pop through the Playfield, or you will scream like you've never screamed before. Do it this way. Just here's the thickness of the Playfield. Put the screw on it. In this case, there is no way it's going to pop all the way through. Or if you think it might be kind of dicey, just use a multimeter or caliper. Sorry. It's 11.7. Make sure they're all 11.7. Okay, take a drill. Make sure you have a good bit. Good meaning not worn out, so the thing jumps all over the place. We don't really need a pilot hole here, but make sure your drill is charged too. Anyways, I think you know what I'm doing, right? So screw it in and then carry on. So again, I've got the original right here, so I have my live 3D model. So as I go and put the T's in, I will bring you back. Again, it's just a question of install, pound, screw, screw, screw. Don't forget the screws because these things might pop out. And I'll bring you back when we start doing up here, because there's a bigger T-nut that happens here. And there's a reason why I put the T-nuts on, just because I'm going to take the Playfield and put it in a jig. So it'll make more sense when we get to that point. But okay, so start T-nutting. Okay, again, 3D sample I have. So if we look at a hole, that's a nut. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's a hole, that's a nut. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. And then a hole, 6, 7. There's 5. A hole, 6, 7. Okay. Okay, then we jump over 1, 2. Next to the stand-up target. That makes sense. They're right there. 1, 2. For sure it's going to repeat on this side. Oh, that's a little bigger. I'm going to leave these to a little later just because they stick into the playfield. So I'll see if I can find some smaller ones. Okay, now let's do the big ones here. Okay, now let's put on the bigger T-nuts. These are the bigger T-nuts. They live at the top of the playfield, and what they're responsible for is to hold on to the ball gates and the guides. Okay. Now, the reason we're doing this is because I want to put on the surround. Okay. Here's where a caliper comes in handy. This hole is way too small to accept this T-nut. Like, I'd sit there and I'd beat the snot out of it, so I have to drill a hole. How big is the hole? Bring up the caliper. So zero it out. So 5.3 millimeters. And the comparable bit I have is 5.1. And then the depth is this one I have. Oh, it's roughly 7.6. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a piece of black tape around here just as a stop. And then when I drill the holes, I'm not going to go anywhere near the top of the playfield, because if you look at the T-nut, it's like not even half. Where are you, Mr. T-nut? There you are. It's not even halfway through, so. Still a little more. But at least it gives me some hope for going in. Actually, let's do this gingerly and see what happens here. Okay. I'm actually just reaming the hole out a little more. So, T-nuts are done. Let's check that off the list. They're all nice and flush. Perfect. Okay, a couple of things I just want to say real quick. Make sure that if anything fell in the playfield, that you pick it up. Okay, yeah, see how these screws are here? If I put it back down, what's going to happen? Boom. You're not going to be very happy. Okay. And no worse for wear. No cracks. So pretty happy so far. Okay, next is putting on. Well, here we're a bit of a dilemma here. So we need to put on. So just so you know, I have a kit here. We need to put these on. These are for the pops. You got to get aggressive with these two when you put them through. Okay, so it's time to put these nails in. Yeah, don't miss with the hammer. I'm going to do this off camera because if I do miss, you're going to hear a lot of swearing. And I can't drive it all the way through, obviously, because then I'll be into the plywood underneath. Three more. Okay, now we are going to install the lights, both the general illumination and the MPU controlled lights. We're going to install all of those in preparation of running the power braid. I've done this in other videos, so I'll just quick highlight. Every one of the bulbs, the sockets I should say, have been modified so that they are trouble-free and more importantly, flicker-free. Try saying that real quick. And every screw that is going to be used was measured to make sure that it's not going to pop through. If you get a screw pops through again, you're going to scream. So anyway, I'll hang you up. We'll see how long the memory lasts on my iPhone, and I'll start popping these things in. Another benefit to doing this now is this is the best time to pop in your light bulbs without much difficulty. Okay, so I put these in. I'll put these in. It's rinse and repeat. Let's pop them in. Okay, so we are at the point right now where I'm ready to start laying the power cable. I put all the major assemblies in. These are temporary. So we have the slingshots, pops, the out hole, and all the lights. So the reason I put these is when you do the power braid. Well, let me show you. It's nice to be able to have some components so you know where you need to clear when you start stapling and braiding. The same thing happens here. So there's a lot going on in this part of the playfield when it comes to putting in this wire. Okay, so I just like to have the assemblies to help guide where I'm going to go. So I'm going to cut the video off here. The next video, we're going to staple a couple of the general illumination lights. I'm going to do the braid, and then I'm going to set it up to take the wiring harness off and transfer it to here. So stay tuned, like, share, subscribe. This is part one of I don't know how many parts. So anyhow, Russians, rock and roll, over and out. See you soon.